Hello and welcome to another exciting PSM's current events. These are really picking up now. Now the football season start. These are going to get fun. So first off, we'll start with I guess we're going to call it our football palooza. Yay! Woohoo! So Pitt beat Duquesne in one of I can't remember which directional Michigan school, but I think it was it Central. I
Central,
don't.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Eli Holstein, he looks good stat wise, but when you watch him play, he threw an interception against Duquesne that kind of kept them in the game, and then he definitely threw one against that Michigan school that kept them in the game for the whole first half. So he's been kind of doing that, and that kind of leads us to the backyard brawl. Pitt did blow a 10-point lead after not scoring a lot of points early. And then they gave up like a touchdown with 10 seconds left and then got sacked on third down and had a long fourth down, which they didn't have Jake Hofert and Pete Gonzalez around to convert. So, yes, Pitt lost in overtime to a really, really bad West Virginia team. Now, I understand this is a rivalry game, Tim, and that's important to West Virginia. It's important to Pitt, and that's probably the best game that West Virginia was going to play and as hard as they were going to play. But yeah, I that one sucked because West Virginia, I think's lost its last two games by like 30 points each, and it's not like they're playing Ohio State both of those weeks. They're playing, I think, Kansas State or somebody, and I don't know. They weren't. They were good teams, but they weren't excellent teams.
Yeah,
So
it's one thing to lose that game, like you said, it's a rivalry game. Pitt basically gave it away, and and I won't get too ahead of you, but they kind of did the same thing
yeah.
the week after
So
that.
so I guess my question is this a trend with the team? And I apparently the answer is yes. So they played Louisville. Louisville was I think 3-0, 2-0 coming into
Three and
this.
zero.
3-0. They were 3-0. And James Madison had been kind of the toughest team Louisville played in. You say, oh, who's James Madison is a decent program. That they're not like, top flight, but they're like that Appalachian State kind of team, like or North Dakota State. Like you don't want to really play them and take them lightly because they will beat you. So Pitt in this game, Pitt had leads of 17 and 10 points and blew them both. Um, my kind of thoughts were the offense can't stay on the field, and then the defense just keeps giving up scores. Holstein ended up getting benched late in the game. So there's a play early. They were up 17 to nothing, and the defense was playing well, stopping a run. Like, I don't think Louisville really ran the ball hardly well at all. Like, Pitt did really well at that. And they're punting, and the guy for Pitt there's a hand on he puts his hand on the back of the Louisville player, and the Louisville player doesn't change direction at all, but continues in his path and runs into the Pitt player who's signaling for a fair catch. It's not called fair kick interference. It hits off the Pitt player's hand barely and falls to the 5. It's a bad call by the officials. Even if the guy was pushed by the Pitt player, wouldn't that be an illegal block in the back, Tim?
Yeah, I didn't understand that call.
Yeah, like you have to call that too, then, if he was pushed into him, because they said, oh, he was pushed into him. Or it was kind of a late signal, but whatever, bad call. So what? That's only 7 points. Louisville didn't score 30 points on one play. And it just seemed like Pitt just kept like digging your own hole. Like the next drive, they go 3 and out, and it's because this. I don't mean to like criticize this offense, but they run so fast, they really don't give the defense a break. And so they're punting, and literally, this is the worst punt I've ever seen. And I've watched football for a long time now. Like it was Junko just literally dropped the ball. It was like he
Right.
wasn't looking or something. It was just ridiculous. And it just added. And once again, the defense just lets them score. So now they're right back in the game. You're like, oh my goodness. Late in the third quarter, Holstein throws a costly interception in the red zone again. He throws a big pass because there was literally a point in the game where the offense hadn't been on the field for a half an hour. I timed it. It was 1 to 1:30. They were not on the field. And it's this wiki whack offense that doesn't stay on the field much to begin with. And even that drive, remember, Tim, it was just like a one deal. It was just like a long pass. And they got down inside the 5. And then Holstein throws an absolutely horrible pass. It's like, just take the sack there or throw it out of bounds. and he just tries to loft it over the defensive lineman. A lot of his passes have been getting tipped, so I don't know if he was trying to finesse it, and it was bad.
He's throwing an interception in the end zone. I'm not sure if it's every week. I can't remember if that Duquesne one was in the end zone, but
Yes, it was. Yeah,
yeah. So I mean, that's so brutal. You get down. That was first and goal too.
and they
You
were going
know,
to be up. What was it? It was
they were going
20.
to be up 17 again,
Yeah,
or 13 at the worst.
yeah.
And that's just such a brutal way to turn the ball over. Like that's you can't just so both lot Pitt should be 4-0 right now. Both like if you get beat, that's fine. Like if
You feel like there's more meat on the bone with this team, don't you?
yeah. And I
Yeah.
don't have a problem with I like Cade Bell's offense actually because if you score points,
But you look at Oregon. I watched some of that Oregon Penn State game, and I get the vibe that's kind of a similar offense, like they run the shotgun. But you know what? They're not afraid to have a big back out of that shotgun, run the ball for a couple yards, and have a long 5-minute drive. 5-minute drives aren't the end of the world.
but that offense would be fine. It would be scoring enough points to win if you weren't committing
Yeah, yeah,
total implosion mistakes. The punter dropping the ball, the fumble, the interception on first and goal. Then he throws the other interception later across the middle of
yeah.
the field, which really is responsible for the winning score. It's just you can't. So to me, it's like, and the frustrating thing about Eli Holstein is he's not a bad quarterback. He's actually a pretty good quarterback. Yeah, because we've had enough bad quarterbacks, and you're just like, okay,
He
fine.
has an arm, and the thing he does well is when he runs around, he can, like, on the one touchdown. Then they have him roll out, and he threw a touchdown. Or no, that was the long
That
pass.
was the one at the end of
Well,
the half. Yeah, that
well,
was
no, there was
perfect.
the long pass that set up the other interception.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They like had him roll out. It's like he just, for whatever reason, and I remember in the Duquesne game, he missed a wide open guy for a touchdown. When he's in the pocket, he is not seeing the field. So
Yeah.
I wonder, I'm no offensive G, maybe start rolling him out more and running him more, because him from the pocket right now, and get his confidence back, because I don't think he has confidence right now.
He did this last year too. He would make some like massive mistakes, but he would usually make them in like the third quarter, and then
Yeah,
and then in the
yeah.
fourth quarter he'd recover. And this year he's making them later and not recovering, and that's been the difference. Again, they should be 4-0 right now, and so in some ways it's promising because maybe they do have a decent team and they're just still putting it together. But these last 2 weeks were just beyond maddening.
I think if they had a big back and they could put to help Reed, and Reed is always hurt. That's the other problem. I
Yeah,
don't think Reed's an every down back. I think he's very good at what he does. But if you pair him with like a big back kind of guy, like he's going to be much more effective. He's going to stay on the field, and you're going to really have something then. And when you need to give your defense a rest and just keep that Louisville offense on the sidelines for 5 minutes, you'll be able to do that. But anywho, that's enough of Pitt. On to the Steelers. In the first game of the season, the Steelers beat the Jets in a shootout with former quarterback Justin Fields. The Steelers didn't run the ball that well, but Aaron Rodgers threw the ball. I was surprised to see how well Aaron Rodgers played. I didn't think he was that good. But they won, and Jalen Ramsey, boy, the more I watch him, the more I realize like what the hype was about with him. Um, then the Seattle, they lost on the game that kind of turned on a fluky pass interception. Then the Steelers beat the Patriots because literally they probably should have not won that game. The Patriots could not figure out how to not turn the ball over 5 times. The Patriots thought they were like the Pitt Panthers or something and just decided to have like fumbles and all kinds of stuff. So, any comments on those first 3 games there, Tim?
well, they got wins on 2 of them, and they didn't look great. They didn't look sharp. They had a lot of problems on defense. Offensive line looked really bad. But that we're now in this era where the first 4 weeks of the NFL season is an extended preseason because they don't play preseason games anymore for real. They limit the practices, all that stuff. Guys hold out, all that stuff. And so you really don't have cohesion for, especially a team like ours where we have so many new guys, and we
Yeah.
have a lot of new players this year. I mean, a lot. So to me, those first 3 weeks were man, get as many wins as you can, but don't. We also have injuries. We've also had really
Right.
some unlucky injuries.
Well, defense, we've had a lot.
Yeah,
Like
we've
the big first round pick.
he missed the first couple games. Porter's been hurt. Elliott's been
Yeah.
hurt. Highsmith's been hurt. So you can't really judge,
Yeah.
And then going into the Dublin game this week, I mean, they seem to really put it all together finally for the most
Yeah.
part.
So yes, the Steelers went to Ireland, and boy, they might do this every couple years, Tim. Did you see that crowd? It was like basically if you would have not told me that was not on the north side, I wouldn't have known the
Yeah.
difference. It was so many Steeler fans. There were some Viking fans there, but man, they were singing. And I mean, normally, if you ever watch these international games, it's a very like blah crowd. Like they're not really into the game that much. They're kind of like, ooh, yay. So I mean, that was really impressive. Of course, the connection is the Rooneys are from Ireland. Their great grandfather lived there. Dan Rooney was ambassador there from 2009 to 2012. He did a lot of charity work. He started in the 70s during all the they call them the Troubles, which was like a bunch of political unrest between the factions in Northern Ireland. Some that wanted to stay, some that wanted their own country, and it took like 40 years to work that out. So, gee, Tim, political rest that takes 40 years to work out. I guess we're not going to see non-political turmoil in our lifetime, huh?
No.
So, Aaron Rodgers, so the Steelers win 24-21. Aaron Rodgers plays great. He's 18 for 22, 200 yards, one touchdown, no interceptions. My question going into the game was, why can't the Steelers run the ball? 63 yards per game. They're 31st in the NFL, Tim. Well, Kenneth Gainwell had 99 yards and 5.9 per carry.
He looked really sharp, though. He had 2 touchdowns also.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In the NFL Network coverage sucked. Like, it was funny. Like, when he scored a second touchdown, they gave the points to the Vikings. And they missed. Did you see the tush push with DK Metcalf?
Yeah.
So they weren't, and they totally missed it in like real time.
Yeah.
They had to show a replay. But the other question was, why can't the Steelers stop the run? They are 193 yards per game, 26th in the NFL. I didn't see how many rushing yards. Looks like 57 rushing yards for the running back from the Vikings.
Yeah, and remember, this is a Minnesota team that scored. I know the Cincinnati's defense is bad, but they scored like 49 points last week. So it's not like they're a bad Minnesota.
There was like a bunch of defensive scores. Like that one guy had a bunch.
Fine. But I'm just saying Minnesota is a good team.
I think they have a lot of injuries.
So do we.
So do we.
On. We were missing our starting running back, Steve.
Yes, Jaylen Warren didn't play. Highsmith didn't play. There was somebody else.
Porter was still out.
Yeah.
So I mean, we've been missing guys all season. That's a quality win. That was finally, we could stop the run. We could stop the pass. I know they came back at the end, but
part of the reason they were able to stop the run is because the offensive line for the Vikings has been hurt. It got worse. Brian O'Neill from Pitt got hurt.
Yeah.
On what looked like to me, I didn't see the replay, but it looked like a cheap shot on the. Why is he playing on field goal coverage anyway? He was one of the offensive linemen for the field goal unit, and I think I look like one of the Steelers tried to jump over him, quite honestly.
But I mean, we said when we previewed the season, we said 2-2 at the bye week we would be. That's sort of what we were expecting. I think we would have been happy with that. So 3-1 and teams that are decent that we beat. I mean, you can't complain. And again, they're coming together. It's been a slow process, but again, a bunch of new guys, extended preseason. I'm not disappointed at this point. I
don't know if I'm surprised they're 3-1, and I'm surprised with the performance of Aaron Rodgers. And if the defense can come around at all, boy, they're at least they're going to make the playoffs.
If the defense can gel and if the offensive line can continue to improve, because that's the other big thing. I mean, the like you said about not being able to run the ball. I get stopping Minnesota's run because of injuries, but Minnesota with
But
that
it has a
defense,
good defense. Yeah,
Brian Flores, I
that
mean,
was
yeah,
that was a good that was a good day. They had
and
a
they
good day.
protected Rodgers because Rodgers
Right.
kept getting flushed
Well,
out of
they
the
got
pocket.
sacked like the first part of the game. He got sacked a lot, but then they figured it out.
Yeah,
Jalen Ramsey had a great game. He played hurt. Like on that play, I don't know if we talked about it. Well, the officials, once again, the officials, because when I show up for football this weekend, I was like, can I see some? Yeah, I want to talk about the officials twice in a row. They made some really questionable calls. This one was more of a rules call. The running back for Minnesota had fumbled, but he was laying out of bounds and he literally just put his hand on the ball. He didn't have possession, and Jalen Ramsey took it off him and ran it in for a touchdown, and they called it back because apparently the rule is when you're laying out of bounds and you touch the ball or you have a body part out of bounds, that automatically kills the play. So whatever. There was an interception late in the game that got called back. It was a close one. At first glance, I thought he double caught it, and I guess he did. So, and then there was there was a ticky tack call on Patrick Queen right after that, and a very dubious call on T.J. Watt for offsides. The only Aaron Rodgers, when it's your day, it's your day. He had a fumble and it bounced right up to Broderick Jones, which was just amazing to watch an offensive lineman run like 5 yards with the ball. How did you at the end of the game? What was Mike Tomlin thinking? This is a head scratching decision.
when he punted or when he took the delay game penalty.
No, there was 4:14 in the fourth quarter, up 24-14.
Oh, and they went for it.
And they went for it from the 4 instead of kicking the field goal.
I didn't mind that.
No, that's terrible. That's a terrible call.
It's
because in the end.
Goal.
No, if you kick the field goal, they have to score a touchdown instead of, and they let it come down to that. At the end of the game, all that they had to do was get to the 50. And I mean, they were 10 yards away from kicking a game-tying field goal.
It was the difference between a 2-score lead and a 3-score lead. And the other thing is, if you don't get it, they're pinned at the 1-yard line. Now they had like an 80-yard pass to Addison.
But that was because somebody got hurt. I thought, was that 25 or was it 21? It was Clark. Clark shouldn't have been in there, but the guy that played before a guy got hurt, and he just bit on like a route or something.
But if that doesn't happen, if they don't have an 80-yard pass and the Steelers just play prevent defense, then it probably takes the Vikings until like 1 minute left to score. They use all their timeouts, and they have to do an onside kick, and then the game.
Well, that was the problem. Is like even when they got down, you were like, okay, just don't score before the 2-minute warning. As long as you don't score on the front side of the 2-minute warning, and of course, what did they scored on fourth down with like 2:05?
Yeah,
and that hurts because it's like what did they score? It hurts because they get the 2-minute time. They still had 2 timeouts at that point.
I didn't have a problem going for it.
You kicked the field. You kicked the field goal there.
Because
it doesn't matter. No, because it doesn't matter. The clock isn't going to run anyway if you don't get it.
It's a 3-score lead. It's a difference between 2 scores and 3 scores. It puts the game away. I had a bigger problem with him punting, not going for it on 4th and 1 with like 1:20 left, and they punted the ball through the end zone.
Yeah,
that was what I had a problem with.
I thought maybe they should have there. I would have went back to the tush push play, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, Carson Wentz, once again, like what my original thoughts on this game was, we'll go. I mean, I guess we'll agree. See, wouldn't have been much more comfortable at the end of that game, though, when they're trying to come back, instead of just having to get to the 50, they actually have to score a touchdown.
Sure.
Because they got the ball back, and it with like a minute left, and they at their own 20 and just needed to get to the 50 to attempt the field goal.
Take away, like I said, Steve, take away the 81-yard pass to Addison, and there's no way that they're getting the ball twice unless they recover the onside kick. Because to drive 99 yards all the way down the field to score a touchdown was going to take them the whole rest of the clock. So that's the reason.
I think I don't have a problem with the throw on second down, but and especially you were on the 4. Like if you were at the in closer, I'd have
Yeah,
been like, maybe. And then I'd even let him throw it as long as you don't throw an
yeah,
interception. The
yeah.
clock's going to stop anyway.
Play call wasn't great. I was more just saying I liked the decision, but you're right. The play call wasn't great.
Even if you're going to do it, throw the ball in the end zone.
Sure, that
Like
that
as
I
long
that
as
I will
even if
agree
it
with you
gets
on.
picked off, if you tackle him, as long as he doesn't return it very far, you're okay.
Yeah,
Because the clock's going to stop no matter what. You're only going to take 7 seconds off the clock there, and like if you score there, that's the dagger. You're right. I agree with you there. But when you're at that part of the field, it's like that's such a no man's land. You either throw it in the end zone or kick the field goal. You don't run some half-ass little play. Yeah,
okay.
whatever.
That I do agree with you on.
Yeah. Um. Anyway, the Steelers run the ball. The Steelers stop the run. They don't turn it over. Broderick Jones gets to get a rushing stat. That's why they won. Also, Minnesota having all those injuries. And also, I said before the game, I said Minnesota, I was picking Minnesota to win this, and I wasn't confident because of Carson Wentz. And I said, if Minnesota can run the ball, they should be able to cover for him. Well, what happened, Tim? They weren't able to run the ball. They weren't able to cover for him. And freaking who was it was that one tight end who announces the games who supposedly like normally he's not. I don't know. He kept saying, "Oh, Carson Wentz is so great." Yeah, he completed 8 passes in a row, but he's thrown 2 interceptions, dude. And he's like, "Oh, that one was tipped." No, it wasn't tipped. He threw it straight to Jalen. It's like, what are you looking at? This is like whatever's. So, like you said, 3-1. Hey, who thought we'd be here?
Yeah, and now
And
they're at the bye week. Some of these guys that are hurt can hopefully heal up.
yeah.
I honestly like if you would have told me in preseason we'd be 3-1 at the bye week, I wouldn't have been disappointed. Would you?
No. Who do they play after the bye?
Cleveland, maybe.
Okay. Anywho, Paul Skeens went 10-10 with like a 1.97 ERA. Tim, switching to baseball. How do you feel about that, Tim? I'm just gonna sit back. It's Steve. It's Steve calling from Beachview. Hey, that Paul Skeens gonna win the Cy Young. He got 10 wins and had a 1.97 ERA. What do you think of him? I'll hang up and listen.
So before I go on a rant, do you think he's already one of the top 5 best pitchers in the history of the franchise?
Well, how
Not exactly a real stellar list.
list. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
what are you looking at? Vern Law. Who
Yeah,
else?
Bob
Stevie
Friend,
Blast.
Babe Adams. Like you'd have to go way back.
Yeah.
I mean, Doug Drabick won a Cy Young Award. I mean, it's so again, we don't exactly have a Deacon Phillippe.
We're not exactly the Baltimore Orioles.
No,
here.
no,
Yeah.
but I mean, I think he's already one of the best pitchers in the history of the franchise. But my God, how do you win the Cy Young Award? He's a lock for the Cy Young Award, and you're 10-10. I mean, so here, Steve, I've done enough complaining on the show about Bob Nutting. I don't want to rip into Bob Nutting. In fact, I want to make a plea to Bob Nutting because I'm sure Stevie listens to this show. I'm sure he does. So Mr. Nutting, I don't want to attack you. Look, I'm sure you're not a bad human being. I am imploring you to please take this opportunity that you have with some foundational pieces, including, like we said, one of the best pitchers maybe in the history of the franchise. Take that opportunity to do whatever it takes to field a competitive ball club for next year. It won't be easy and it won't be cheap, but just imagine what your legacy would be in this town if you were to get the Pirates to a World Series. People are remembered for what they did at the end, Mr. Nutting. Andrew Carnegie was a miserable miser who abused his workers, and he's revered in this town.
Even Henry Clay Frick, who busted the Union down there, has got a park named after him.
Yes. Yeah. Heck, Steve, Darth Vader blew up an entire planet, but he saved his son at the end, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
And Mr. Nutting, like I know you're not exactly on your deathbed, but you won't ever have a better chance than this. And if you go all in to build a winner, or even if you go all in and you just get us close, then years after you're gone, people won't remember all the years of losing and all the sell the team chants. They would remember how you did the right thing by all these people in this town who have shelled out their hard-earned money to you over the years. So please, sir, I implore you, I beg you, do the right thing here.
Is this like a role play thing? Like on PTI, do I like hold up a little mask of blood money and say,
No,
oh,
no, this is just my open plea to him
okay.
because this is our best chance, Steve. This is our
Well,
best chance.
I can only I approve this message, Tim.
In 30 years, we've never had a phenomenon player like this.
If they just get a couple hitters, maybe they'll go out and get Aaron Judge. There you go.
Yeah, they don't have to get, they don't have to spend $1 billion, but just try. Like they
well, maybe they could sign Ohtani as that he play. Ohtani plays for the league minimum.
Yeah, but he has $1 billion contract.
Backloaded.
Yeah.
Backloaded. Hey, you'll never. I mean, I say you'll never pay it. I say sign them for $2 billion, and it'll all be backloaded.
Yeah,
you'll never see that money. It's the Howard Baldwin gambit, but
yeah, no, you don't have to go that big. I'm just saying, just go out and sign some good piece. Do what the Milwaukee Brewers have done. Look how good they are. Like you don't have to be the Dodgers. You don't have to be the Yankees. Just be a little bit more competent than you are, and you could really have a winner here. We get into the playoffs, Steve, and he pitches, like that's we could really do some damage. And it's not that hard. They could do it. But how can you let this guy go 10-10? I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So yeah, Mr. Nutting, I don't want to complaining and bashing you. Everybody does that. I'm just asking you. Like this is your legacy on the line. You could do the right thing. People would forget all the bad stuff, and they would just remember what you did at the end. I want the storybook ending, Steve.
All right. Well, like I said, I approve this message. I hope it works out for you, Tim.
Speaking of storybook endings.
Yeah, Penguin news. I know. Can you believe Penguins preseason is happening? And here's a question for you. Would you pay $200 for a ticket to a Penguin season, to a preseason game for the Penguins? $200 for a ticket? Because I don't know. Anytime I ever gone, I get them for free. Like somebody just gives them to me.
Yeah, well, when you got number 29 plan, I guess you would, because people did.
I know, that's crazy, isn't it? So Marc-Andre Fleury signed like what they call it, like a pro tryout or something for the Penguins. He's obviously going to retire, and this was just his last hurrah. He wanted to retire as a Penguin, and that's what he did. He played in the game. He actually stopped all the shots he saw, and they actually had like a little exhibition shootout because I think the Penguins were won anyway. So they had him do a shootout, and he stopped everything but one goal. Like a couple of the guys didn't even try for were they playing? I think they were playing Columbus. But one guy really did, and he really made a nice save on him. So there you go. Class again for a class act. They interviewed him during the game, and everybody loves him. And it was a great way to end his career.
Yeah, what a cool moment. Guys do that all the time. There's 1-day contracts so that they can retire, but usually you don't put them into a game.
Didn't Rod Woodson do that, or no? Or Tom Zach? I think Tom Zach did that.
Cordell Stewart did that actually,
yeah.
like 6 years after his last game or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys do that all the time, which again is cool. I just like the concept of that. But man, actually getting to put him in, I know it was a preseason game, but he got to play the whole third period of that game. And people were chanting 1 more year. It was just a cool moment, and the Penguins aren't going to have a lot of cool moments this year, so it was nice to have that.
Well, that's it for our Pittsburgh sports memories, current events. Thanks for listening. Give us a favorable rating on whatever service you listen to. Follow us on Facebook. Leave a comment wherever you can leave a comment if you want to argue about you think Carson Wentz is the greatest quarterback ever. And we'll talk to you next time.